Real conversations, real solutions, real success.
Success is my religion.
All right. Well, I wanted to have you guys on here because, like, we had a good conversation in our Uber ride, and we had a good conversation in the video that we did, the practice video that helped me out a lot. So I wanted to bring y'all on and kind of talk about what happened in y'all, like, growing up to get you to where you are today, what you're currently doing, and then what you see in the future. You might get some life coaching. You might get some life coaching in this because that's what I do. That's who I am, and I just can't stop talking about it. So I want y'all to get better, especially being 19, 20 years old. Like, if I can give you some information that can tweak, that you can adjust, or we can bounce off ideas, and
Yes, sir.
it's all up to
Definitely.
y'all. But um, I'm always gonna give my advice because I go by the saying. I go by the saying, at least somebody told you. So,
Mm.
Michael, Khalyl, right?
Yes, sir.
Y'all my guest on the my first guest on the reboot of the Success is My Religion podcast. Welcome.
Glad to be here. Appreciate you having us, man. For real.
Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate y'all coming because y'all the people that I wanna help. I wanna give my knowledge to. Um, you know, it's like the way we grow up is different. And we don't have a lot of people that are pouring back into us or guiding us through those times where we are in our success journey and we don't even know it, where we don't have goals, we don't have a strategy or anything like that. So I want to be that person that people look to really develop a plan, a strategy for their own success. So tell me a little bit about you all and like where y'all come from, where y'all are at. Like,
Yeah, man. Well, first off, I want to say, appreciate you even having us, man. I'm Michael. It's my little brother Khalyl.
Glad to be here.
And so, yeah, man, really, we grew up really in California. That was one of our main just influences really growing up. We moved there when I was about 4 years old, from what I can remember. That's what mom tells me too. So he would have been about 3, we're only about a year apart. And really, man, first starting off, like really in the real high up where it was real hot, deserty type areas. It wasn't very, I wouldn't say rich or wealthy, at first. And we slowly just worked our way down towards like the popular areas that people know, probably like Rancho Cucamonga, Pomona, Inglewood, Los Angeles, slowly building our way towards that. A main chunk of the place we lived in, if anyone who ever sees this knows, was in Fontana or in San Bernardino County, which is known as Bankrupt County in California.
what does that mean? What
That's
is
what his
bankrupt?
nickname is.
Why
Bankrupt.
why do they call it bankrupt?
They call it Bankrupt County because it's one of the poorest counties in California.
It was the
And-
least funded. Yeah, one
Yeah,
of those least funded
in
counties.
comparison to all the other counties that surround it.
Right.
Because it's
all
right next to Rancho Cucamonga,
Orange
Pomona,
County,
Orange County,
et
places
cetera,
like
et
that.
cetera.
So that's really kind of what our upbringing was. We lived there for about, going on like a few years. Then, kind of migrated to the well-known areas, like I said, Los Angeles. That's when things kind of took a turn, really. We kind of struggled a little bit financially, not
You
knowing
talking about
exactly like,
your family?
yeah, whole family, all as a whole, a family of 6 at the time. And really, it was just my mom, us 5. She has 5 kids, and then my stepdad, and we have half siblings, which is their full biological dad.
As a group of 7.
Oh, 7. Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah,
It's
man.
been so long.
It's been so long. It's been so long since that dynamic has been like that.
So
But,
where'd y'all go to high school at?
We went to multiple different schools growing
All
up.
the time.
So quite a few.
High schools? Just high schools? Y'all went
just high schools, probably a few.
High schools alone, I know that the first one we went to
it was in California, I believe, right? Because you went to high school first
Well,
in
yeah,
California.
Barstow High. Yeah.
And so he was the first one to go to high school because
Yep.
he's the oldest. So his first high school was in Barstow in California. And then, like he said, things kind of took a turn. We ended up coming down here. We were in Kansas before we were in Missouri, actually. So then he ended up going to high school in Kansas in a place called Topeka High, which was kind of the capital of Kansas. It was kind of a well-known school at the time, I guess. It was the most popular school, I should say. And a year after that, I went to high school, and my first high school was actually called Highland Park, which I still love to this day. And I went there for 3 years out of my high school.
And which is my third high school and the high school I graduated from.
Highland Park. Y'all both graduated
Yes,
from Highland Park?
No. So actually, I'm so sad to say that I spent my 3 lovely years there, but we ended up coming down here in Missouri that last final senior year, and I had to graduate. Yep, I had to graduate somewhere called Northeast. I won't lie, it wasn't the prettiest or best school, but I made the most out of what was handed to me. I definitely met some good people there, some good people that I would still call friends, and people that I would call just admirable people that I could look up to from that school that I still hold in my memory dear. So it definitely wasn't for nothing.
It wasn't that long ago. Like when I'm talking about my high school years, like that's 22 years ago. Y'all acting like this. It ain't even been 5 years.
It's just a lot. You're right. It's just a lot happened in that transition, man. But so that's kind of where we went to school. We lived up in probably Los Angeles for like I want to say 2 years, like a couple years. Then we ended up kind of going through
probably like a year and a half, something like that.
Yeah.
So we ended up leaving. Yeah.
And we kind of went through a struggle, kind of not knowing exactly where we would sleep, kind of staying in motels, cars, people's
How old
houses.
are you? How old
At
are
the
you?
time?
Yeah.
At the time, that started when I was probably like 12 or 13. Then that went on for a while, kind of like having a place here, having a place there kind of thing, for a while till I was probably like, I want to say 14, 15.
And we were a very independent family. Like he kind of said, we kind of bounced around. People would try and help us here and there. And then, like I said, we were kind of independent. So we never wanted to oppose, we never would have wanted to overstay our welcome. And my mom was a very, very brilliant woman. So she always found a way. And eventually, after a while, my mom, she got into medical school all by herself. She went and got a job at McDonald's. And I actually, the girl that I'm with to this day, her family actually let us stay with them for free. They never asked us for rent money. They never asked us to put food in the house. And they let my mom work until she got her CNA and was able to get a place. So it was actually it was just one of those things where after trial and tribulation, we finally found some people that help us on a pathway. My mom herself was independent enough to go and fund her whole way through medical school and become a CNA. And even now, she's still in the medical field years later. So,
and I think now she's going to be a MA. I think she's a medical aide right now. She's going to get something with like an MA or RN or something like that. We're not too familiar with those. Just to give you a timeline kind of breakdown, because we're kind of bouncing around here. First moved to California when I was about 4. He was about 3 years old. Lived up in probably like the deserty spots of California is what people would say, the real desert. It's not close to the beach. It's hot. It's far away from the beach. That's all you need to know. So then probably lived there for a few years, migrating slowly down the mountain is what we would say in California to the nicer places. Just for over the next few years, probably like lived in that Fontana area for about, I want to say 3 or 4. Los Angeles for about another, couple years, 3 years. And then,
so by the time we left Los Angeles, he probably was about to be 12, about to turn 13. And I was probably just about to turn 12. So I was probably 11 at the time.
Yeah.
On that kind of, I think so, something like that.
Yeah. And then kind of a lot happened kind of within the family. I won't go too much in detail, but my mom and my stepdad, which is, our little siblings, real dad, just split up. It wasn't a good household at all. So the best course of action was to move where the nearest family member was. California, we had no family. Our nearest family member was my uncle.
Yep.
My uncle, or our uncle, I should say, in Kansas, Topeka, Kansas. And so that's where we had to relocate. That was probably about when I was about 13 or 14. Then we stayed up in Kansas for a few years. I eventually graduated high school.
till you were like 18.
Yep. Well, 17 when I graduated.
17, yeah. So 17, I was 16 at the time then when we came down to Missouri.
Yep. And then really been living here for, I want to say, the past like 4 or 5 years now.
I go 4 going on 5.
Yeah.
Because I'm about to turn 20. You're about to be 21.
Yep, going on 5 because I'm about to be, wow. And so that's kind of like a timeline.
I feel like through the whole time us growing up, I feel like me and Michael kind of had different aspects. Like, even now, I feel like I've always been kind of the more on the imaginative side, like using the right side of my brain. Michael's always been more the logical, and not always in a bad way. I've always come to him whenever I just need advice in a way of like, as human beings, we're impulsive. When we want something, and even though we know it could be the more poor decision, we like what we see or we want what we see. So, we tend to go with that.
And that's that emotional side.
So I always come to him looking for advice. He's always been really a father figure in my life, because even when we were younger in school, if I ever got bad grades, he would be the one that would kind of, knock me up, be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" So
right. And so how were y'all grades? Like, what was your work ethic like in high school?
For me personally, in high school, I wasn't a big fan of high school for probably the first couple years, freshman, sophomore year. To be honest with you, I barely just skid by. My work ethic was always high in regards of doing the work. It was more so just the environment. I didn't like a lot. Sometimes it's the teacher. Sometimes it could be fellow students. Sometimes it could be influences, whatever it is. And so I barely skipped by probably my first and second year of high school. Junior and senior year is when I started to grow a fondness for it. It's when I grew a love for just learning and advancing my knowledge. And that's when I would say, started applying myself. And school always came natural. It always came easy to me. It's always just been a thing where it's like I wouldn't have to try very hard. And so like I guess it was almost a case where it would just be boring almost at times.
He's always good with numbers.
And so like I eventually just got that boredom with school, but then I grew that love for it. Probably my junior and senior year, and probably wrapped it around. And it's crazy too because the two like parallels of it. Because freshman, sophomore year, dude, I don't even know what my GPA was. Probably would have been the low like ones or something. Like I probably had a couple A's and probably C's and like rest D's, to be honest with you. But it wasn't even the case of me being like slow or dumb. It was just I didn't like those classes. Then junior and senior year, dude, it's like all A's and B's, like just clean, like perfect, and it was awesome. Eventually, and I was just happy to graduate. Our father, we didn't really know him.
He dropped out in 9th grade.
Yeah, we never really knew him. Passed away when we were very young. We never really knew him. My mom tells me he never even graduated high school. So I felt a great achievement just reaching that level already. And we'll go beyond it, and then let him tell you about his experience.
For me, so in high school, I remember first going to high school, I'm thinking, I didn't know whether it was going to be like what they had on TV, all this stuff going on. And to be honest, when I first got there, I pretty much feel like I was in middle school, except now half the people that I know got cars now. And so freshman year, my grades was pretty bad. Freshman year, I was skipping a lot. I don't know what it was, but I just really didn't want to. I guess you could say I felt confined, and that was because I limited my way of thinking. I was thinking I was wasting time here at the school or wherever in this class. But then it's kind of like what he said, sophomore year, I believe is when COVID had hit, because I was about 2020, 2019 going into 2020. So I actually started to grow a fondness, sadly, right when we had to go to Zoom and stuff like that. Yeah, so. But I remember at the end of freshman year is when I started to turn around. I've always had a IEP. I've always been in anger management and stuff like that. So until high school, actually, I was never in regular classes. I was always in a special needs class just for my anger issues alone. So once I hit high school, that's when because after middle school a little bit is when they were transitioning me into being in the regular classes. So I always had an IEP and stuff like that. So in freshman year is when my counselors and stuff all got up and they were like, hey, like, just tell us why you're skipping and not doing so well. And I told them exactly why. I won't go deep into those reasons because they were kid stuff, but I told them why. And they really just kind of enlightened me. They just kind of spoke to me and it resonated with me. And after that, it's kind of like what he said. I kind of seen how I was bettering myself. I was going, working out in the gym every day at school. I was in choir because I loved to sing, so I was bettering my voice. I loved science. That was one of my favorite classes. Math was math class, so we're not going to talk about that. But everything else was so nice. And then sophomore year, it kind of sucked because that, like I said, we had to go virtual. So a lot of that passion that I had for it, especially stuff like choir and gym and stuff like that, obviously wasn't as in tune as it was when I hit the end of freshman year. But then I remember the end of sophomore year, I think like halfway through that is when they started allowing us to go back if we wanted to. And I hopped right on it. I know that a lot of stuff was going on back then with COVID, but to be honest, I wanted my education to be at its best potential. So I decided that if I really wanted to apply myself, the best way I could was to be there in person, you know?
And me and bro have always been hands-on learners. It's always been a hands-on kind of thing. Let's get the actual full immersion of it, you know, kind of thing.
Right, the environment setting. Like if I'm working out and doing all this in the actual gym at school for actual 45 minutes or for the hour and a half and stuff like that, I'm going to really apply myself better than if I'm at home looking at a screen telling me do 50 push-ups, do 50, you know what I mean? So then I remember sophomore year was really just getting through development. Like at the end year of that phase, I was really just trying to figure out what I liked the best because I had so many things going on. Like I said, with science, I had choir, and I had just working out and stuff. And mind you, all this is before I even started to find a passion for art, which is what I started to find out in my junior year. And I started going through, and I would like do little doodles and stuff like that here and there. And that's when I really started being immersed in choir as well. I love performing and singing in front of people. And at the time, like I said, we were in Topeka, Kansas, and you would think because it's the capital they got funded a lot, but they didn't. So we would do a lot of performances at like elderly homes and stuff like that. And a lot of my peers at the time, they're all like, "Oh man, this is whack! Like we're doing all this practicing, you know, I'm singing for these people." And at the time, I couldn't do nothing but smile because I felt like these people, they don't get to see much, especially going with knowing my grandma and visiting her a lot once I came down to Kansas and Missouri. I really felt like knowing these people, they didn't have a lot to smile about, you know, they have to go day by day with a lot of people there to cheer them up. So I felt just happy to be there, to make them smile, and that's what they did. Those people looked at us and they smiled as big as they could, and I smiled back, and it just made me happy. And I remember senior year, even though I had to leave Highland Park, the school that I love to this day, I remember going down in Northeast, and that's really where I started pushing into my extracurriculums, I guess you could say, with like art and stuff like that. And that's when I started getting into entrepreneurship because of a teacher. Like I said, I have very admirable people to look up to in that school. And one of them, his name was W.R.K.H.R.D. And he was a very lovely teacher. He was very big on entrepreneurship. And he always just reminded us that college wasn't the only way. He always told us that if you felt like college isn't the best thing for you right now, he always said you could go back later. He said he didn't go to college till he was about I think like 24 or something like that. He said a long time after he had graduated. And he actually runs he runs small parts of multiple businesses, and he actually gave up a big part of a successful business to school because he said he wanted to teach to build a better environment for his two daughters for when they start to grow up and get in middle school and high school. And I just loved his passion for it. So after that, I really graduated thinking, you know, I kind of just want to go towards my own career, my own goals, and not think, hey, I'm confined to whatever this education system here in America can give me, you know? And that's when bro was already on his entrepreneurship goal. He was already, I could tell, like he said a long time ago, he put it at school bored him. I don't think it was like that. I think school, I would say, confined him. I think it confined him to thinking this is a set way of how life should go. And I think it took him a while to realize, okay, this is the way I want my life to go, and I can't get it from school. But I won't speak for him. That's just how I take it from an outside perspective. But I feel like that's when he started also going in his own thing. So that's when we started combining those ideas, and this kind of goes into present tense now. That's when we started.
Let me ask, what?
Oh, sorry.
Why is school such a bad thing? Like, why are young people so put off by school? Because when I look at it, nobody in history has skipped over high school. You know what I mean? And when I'm like, just do it and move on to the next step. And but when I talk to my students, I'm looking at them, I'm like, why aren't you giving your all in this step? Because this is practice for what is about to happen. Like, you're about to go into the real world. Let's practice now and practice hard. But I have a sports background, so that's just my nature, developed
Right.
nature. So what is the why do young people have such a disconnect with the schooling system?
So
Because
I'll answer that.
it's the same system
Right.
as
From
from
forever
way
ago.
back
Right.
in the back. Yeah.
Right. Right. And I think what it is, to answer your question, is we've seen it now that that's not necessarily a key factor in becoming a successful person. Now, it is true. I believe, like, I want to say, I don't want to throw out random numbers, but I've done the research on it. About 86% of wealthy people have went to college. Now, that being said, there's no statistic on how many of those wealthy people use those college degrees. I think we're coming out of an age like the industrial age where, like, our grandparents and our great grandparents and our great grandma and stuff, that was the it was a linear pathway to success, or to be in a stable situation where it was, okay,
Way, yeah.
where I'm gonna go. All right, I'm gonna go to school. Well, okay, first off, I'm gonna find a decent job just to be able to have money for myself, to be somewhat independent. Find a way to, get some education, fund the school, and get a FAFSA, whatever it is that you need. Go to school for about 4 years, and end up, going for whatever degree they end up going
And
for.
ideally getting a job that can pay off.
Ideally getting a job.
Paid. Yeah, do go to
Ideally
college.
getting a job after college.
Yeah.
Where
So,
it's
but
like,
like just high school though. So
yeah,
high school, everybody is forced to go into, right?
right,
Right?
Well,
You're forced to complete it. All
yeah.
I'm saying is, like, why? I mean, if you don't do anything in those 4 years, and you come out and you don't have no skills, no nothing, and like, what do you do? I understand that there's different, um I don't, how you say,
Avenues, pathways.
yeah, there's different avenues, but I mean, just do the work. Like, we got a whole bunch of the school district I'm in. We got 8% reading at grade level or higher, right? So, and that's not just in the high schools. That's the district as a whole. That's elementary school, middle school, junior high, wherever they got in the school system. That's high school. 8%. What? And you can't read at grade level, and you like, we expect everybody to be successful, or have a shot, but we ain't even trying in school. We got opportunities. We may not have the best facilities, we may not have may not get the best funding, or but there's still opportunities there for us. Go ahead.
I want to say, I think also the school system doesn't bring out, for one, it doesn't bring out a passion within a lot of students. I think the school system cultivates, I would say, an employee mindset of, there's a person that you should just listen to, then you have to work by yourself. There's no such thing as teamwork. You have to figure all these test answers out on your own. And I think it's like, as this generation, now don't get me wrong, there is, I would say, the extreme of where people just think that school is unnecessary, or that we don't need some form of education, and I disagree with that. But I think there's the opposite extreme of, that's the only way you'll ever be successful, is going to college and
But
getting a degree for
who
something.
told you that? Like, that's
Society,
what.
school teaches you that. School teaches you that you should go. There's a pathway you should take to be successful, which is go get an education, go to
Because
college eventually for something that you like, and then eventually you should go to that job for 30, 40 years, and eventually invest in the stock market when you retire.
But
That's like the linear pathway. I'll let you explain.
what I think though, like kind of like how you said, on just high school alone, like on just high school on the topic, because when I was actually, like I said, in my senior year, Andrew Carreo, he actually had a program that he started, and me and a friend of mine had got it started, where we actually talked about this actual, like, legit subject on why high school students are so disengaged. And we actually ran statistics, and most of the statistics actually just say that a lot of students just feel unheard. They feel like, because I don't think it's like, it kind of goes off what you said with the educational system, but I don't think it's really that. I think it's more of, we don't have as many people, I feel like personally, as yourself. I don't know you as, as personal as probably some of your students, but I feel like people like you, I feel like you can kind of resonate with them and how they're thinking at that age. You can kind of understand how it's not that simple to tell them, hey, do this test and you're going to pass. It's not, you understand that it's not that simple to tell them that. But a lot of teachers, I feel like what it is that they just don't, the students don't feel confident in telling them, hey, I don't think that you're doing this appropriately or doing it right. Not necessarily that you're doing it wrong, but to me, a teacher, you have to be someone that can teach multiple different ways to multiple different students.
Yeah.
Meaning that you can't find this one way of teaching and then teach the whole class like that, because not everyone learns that way. And some teachers, they don't understand that. And the statistics basically said that a lot of students, they feel like they can't even go to higher up, such as a principal, a counselor, because they feel like since they're a child, not necessarily like a child as in 6 years old, even though they're 15, 16, 17, some 18 years old, they still feel that they get looked at as a child, and basically they feel like their word isn't necessarily valued. And when we the other things that the students said is that the reason they don't like try and express themselves, if you notice, a lot of students in high school, they don't really express themselves unless they're necessarily in like a certain clique, like cheerleaders or the football players, or basketball, I'm saying, ROTC, stuff like that. But there's always a big uh group, or I guess unheard volume
Yeah.
in the
So
school.
does they push going to college because of the statistics.
Right.
So the statistics say that people with high school diplomas will make a certain amount at this, right? And then at college, your potential to make more goes exponentially up. You see what I'm saying? Um, I just I, it baffles me because we don't try in high school, because when you can do whatever you want after high school. Yes, society tells you that college is the way to go. That we're going away from that now because of all the stuff that's available now. But like, where are we going to get the knowledge and the structure and the practice to become our truest, our reach our fullest potential, I would say. So it's like, if you don't go to college, if you don't go to a trade school, what are you gonna do? How do you become successful?
Is that your
And
question?
hold on, what does success mean? And like, do you have a good definition? Like, what does that look like for a young person these days?
So for me, a young person, I feel like being successful, and that's what I think it also is that just saying that, oh, college isn't the way, that doesn't mean that necessarily having an education is a bad thing. Like a lot of people, business, like for example, if going to college and doing something within business or in that degree is your dream, that's what I feel like success is doing something that you love, that can fund and fuel that passion at the same time, to where, like, if you're, to me, success is doing something that you love and being able to build upon it, create it, what you see while enjoying it. Like, to me, success is a different virtue in how you look at it. Some people say success is if they can buy this mansion on their private island with a private jet for when they want to go back home, while
Money,
other people would say,
money,
right,
right?
while other people would say that their way of success is having a homestead where they're able to make their own bread, make their own sauces, make their own, grow their own freaking crops, have livestock. Like, you know what I mean? So to me, success is doing what you love and being able to fuel what you love doing at that same time, if that makes sense. If you understand what I'm saying. Like, I feel like success shouldn't be like, oh, if you don't go to college, so it's like what I'm basically trying to say is college is a pathway, like you're saying. It's like they try and say it's the right way. And I think, like you're saying, now in today's age, a lot of kids are thinking that it's either an impossible way or it's a way that they're being forced into. When in reality, I feel like it's just another pathway on a pathway to multiple. Like being an entrepreneur is one. If you want to do something like artistic wise by making something, if you want to be something culinary wise, I think it's about doing what you love, especially like how you said, there's things like TikTok, YouTube. There's tons of people who sit at their desk and they literally draw, just sit there and they'll draw. And there's tons of people that literally can fund their whole lifestyle off of just doing that. They're doing
So-
nothing but sitting there and drawing, but they're able to do what they love and they're supporting whatever they need within that love.
And at a fundamental level, what does that look like when you come from a family that maybe doesn't necessarily have funds so you can do whatever you want? So if your family, you came from a two-parent household, they have money, they have you're going to get an inheritance, they can help you pay for an apartment by yourself, those type of things. What if you don't come from that? And like I don't know if I'm trying to hint at something, but like real life happens. Like there's steps to this. People that start at different levels, and the work that you have to do is relative on your background. So yeah, I got students that want to just go work, but like you have to further yourself, and you guys are doing it. Y'all read books, y'all got mentors, y'all got different things like that, but y'all not the you're not the majority. The majority is just gonna go to work and get money so that they can pay for whatever it is. And I'm trying to get to everybody, like, let's further ourselves. Let's come up with a plan. Let's do something that is constructive, because we all, yeah, y'all got opportunities that nobody else had. At 18 years old, you can get a job getting paid $15 an hour and live at home. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a lot of money. We was getting paid like $7.50 an hour back when we was like
I feel
so
I
it
feel
was
the same
school,
way.
huh?
But I said I'll be feeling the same way, dude. Because right now, we pay half, pretty much. Half the rent, and then I pay a water, like some of the bills. But it's like I understand what you saying, because a lot of kids don't leverage their position in life. Sometimes you
Right
don't
now,
see
especially.
how good of a position you
Right.
have, until it's taken away from you. And so trust me, like I think where it starts is a person's thinking. I think we don't
I was just gonna
in a
say
lot of
that.
environments we have, a positive thinking isn't cultivated. Now, I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine at work, but after you reach I would say a certain age, if you have, full mental capabilities, average person capabilities, you have responsibility for your own actions. I was just telling him, because he was saying that there's things that are uncontrollable in life. And I was saying that's true, like where you're born. He said even the name that's given to you, your parents, all things like that. I said, but there are things you can control, like your attitude, your response to things, your actions going through life. I said, for example, we're here right now at 3 a.m. working in a hot trailer, loading these boxes for $20 an hour, but we could be out, you know what I'm saying, in the streets making a lot more money a lot faster. And there's ways that we know how to do that. But we've come from a background where that would be a normal situation. If you read our situation on paper, that's probably where you think we would have ended up. But that's not the pathway we're choosing to take. And he has a good mindset in his own right. He does, whatever it is that he does in his own right, taking care of his family, doing the right things. So I look at it like there's uncontrollables, but after you reach a certain point in your life, you have to take responsibility for the trajectory of it.
And I was just gonna follow up on that, and that, like how you said, if someone comes from a 2-parent home and stuff like that, and you said if someone doesn't have the upbringing, I know, like, you can't just, a positive mindset is not gonna get you all the way through. Willpower alone is not gonna get you all the way through, but it's a start. Knowing half the preparing and knowing is half the battle. So I feel like people a lot of days they take that, and I think instead of like for us, for example, I take from what we had when we've come from nothing, wasn't able to have things. So I appreciate everything that we have, and I always look at how, even though things can be unfortunate in our circumstance now today, I always think about how it could be worse and how there's people definitely out there who has worse. I always think that no matter how bad your situation is, there's always going to be some person on the planet who got it worse. That's just a fact, because there is no person who got it worse than anybody. You can't find that person. You won't. So to me, I think it's about how people, like you said, how they look at it. A lot of people, if they go, well, I was born with just my mom taking care of me, and, you know what I'm saying, people coming in out of our house, you know what I'm saying, living on Section 8. So obviously, why am I going to try so hard to do all this? I ain't obviously going to go nowhere. And I've met people who talk just like that. I've met people who literally say, well, I was raised like this, I was born here, and this is what it's always been. So why would I even try? And that's because, and that's why I feel like a lot of people are like that. Yeah. If they just, you can't, to me, you got to use it as a fuel. To me, you should use your past and stuff like that. You got to use it to fuel the fire, passion, where a lot of people, I think they dampen themselves with it. They use it to confine their way of thinking, where it's like, well,
be a victim.
If they're like, well, what did you call it? The Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's what it kind of is. They're kind of like, well, my mom's has always worked at this Wendy's, and now she's saying I can work there too. And I mean, she's always had this apartment and getting day by day, paycheck to paycheck. So why should I try and just strive better than her? If that works for her, that will work for me. I've seen people talk the exact same way, and I think that's what it is now in today's, where they see this way, and even though they think they see and they know that it's not the easiest way or the best way, and not even a way that utilizes their full potential, like where they know, like I've worked at Wendy's, and my manager had a business degree. He told me straight up that I have a business degree, but you know what I'm saying, I just don't know how to do nothing with it for real. So now you're working at a Wendy's as a manager making $17.50 an hour when you could have a whole business under your name. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's people's way of thinking. And he told me the reason he was like that is because he said, well, it's easier to do what I do to make money instead of trying to educate myself to go and use this business degree, even though I did stuff and paid money, invested to get the business degree to begin with.
Well, there's something that people are missing when they go to college and they come out with a degree and they say, "Oh, I ain't using it." Well, you practiced a lot of stuff, a lot of skills, going to class, turning in assignments, talking to people, networking. There's at every step in life, there's things that will help you in the next step, and we are jumping steps, and
I think a big portion of that, I think, comes from the fact that a lot of kids, they're not even kids, a lot of adults even I feel like he was saying, confined to that one space. I met so many people that have gone through college, people that I've worked right next to in the same spot, like Walmart, had a whole different degrees and stuff. And they say they went to it because their parents, or because they didn't know what else to do, or because it was college or the military kind of thing. And it feels like it's a confining option. So people, it's the idea of, I'm going to go to college, so I'm going to be successful.
And there's the other side of it. There's also the other side, like you said, there's also those people who did come from having a 2-parent home, and, my parents gave me an allowance, and, and that. So then those people, they have the mindset of, well, my dad and my mom have this. So they put that in the category as, I have this. They think because my dad has this multi-million-dollar company, they put it as, they go to school, and what do they say? Well, I got this multi-million-dollar, I don't need this. I could buy another Apple Watch. I could get another iPhone one. What are they really saying is, my mom's going to buy me another one. My dad's going to buy me this car.
And you got a whole bunch of people like that. But we got to look about where we come from. There's, and how do I say this? What I see is that we're starting off at a level that's lower than even, right? And then we got to get to even. That's going to take a lot of hard work. You don't necessarily get to get to do all the things that you want to do to get to even because of how your background was set up.
Circumstances, right?
So we got to really look at that. And to my listeners, to whoever watching this podcast, we really got to look at what steps we need to get to even. So if my family lifestyle is out of whack because of whatever my parents or my parent has done or has led up to now I have to look at what do I have to do next? Because 22 years ago, it was either work or college. That's what I
Yeah,
had to. You know what I mean?
yeah,
750. There wasn't no real factory jobs that was just paying out like that and giving hours like that. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, shoot, I'm gonna just go to college. I gotta figure out a way to go pay for this, and I
right,
gotta make the most out of it. So when I
right,
went to college, I was like, all right. When I got to the college that I graduated from, Missouri Valley College, I was like, I'm gonna do everything. Nobody, because they wasn't giving me no jobs back home, so nobody. I was like, nobody's gonna tell me that I'm not qualified to do whatever I choose to do, right? So I went in with that mentality, like I'm gonna learn whatever degree I need to get. I'm gonna get. I'm gonna use this experience to upgrade myself, along with getting a degree, because I think people that goes into entitlement. A lot of people
yeah,
that you talking to that is saying, "Oh, I didn't do anything with my degree or whatever." They didn't go in it with a purpose of learning something. They went into it with the purpose of getting the paper so that they could be successful or
right,
whatever. And that's not how it goes. That you
right,
have to intentionally learn and get better because they still at the same high school mindset when they graduated, and then they just thought that people was just going to give them those opportunities or whatever, and that's a sense of entitlement, and that's what's going on. Because I've been working with college age students for a long time, and high school age students for a long time. So like I'm just sitting there like you just think you just gonna go and
Right, they don't
not.
have the IOE. Yeah, they don't have the IOE over. They don't
What's
have
the
the intellect.
IOE again?
So for anybody that's listening out there for the podcast, IOE, y'all, is intellect over emotion. So I really want y'all to sit back and think of times where you can have IOE in a situation. And the only reason I say that right now is because I think emotionally, like you said, they go into college and emotionally they know that they'll get this paper, and emotionally they think that that's going to give them that feeling of success. They think once I get this paper emotionally, I'm going to feel successful, but that's not the intellectual or reality of it. The reality of it is that this is just a stepping stone, like you said, to acquire the stuff, to get the piece of paper, which is just to show that you qualify from what you've learned, and now you may proceed. But a lot of them
right,
don't think about it like that. They don't
Nah,
take the
they think they
IOE.
gonna get they
that's
think they gonna get something for
Right.
that. Like it, and nobody
I think
knows what you did. Nobody knows.
right,
Nobody cares because like
right,
I'm the spitting image of nobody cares. Nobody cares
right,
that I was a student athlete involved in a 4-year organization that certified nonprofit professionals. Nobody cares that I was a resident assistant. Nobody cares that I was a graduate assistant. You know, I did a whole bunch of
The
stuff.
list goes on. Right.
It keep on going. So people not gonna care once you get out. And I, but it made me who I was, who I am now, and the hard worker that I am now. I know you got to work smarter, not harder. And I got my book that says uh, work smarter and work harder, because when you come from a background like I come from, you got to work harder too. So you being black, that you only 13% of the population. Ain't a lot of
right,
black people got whole businesses that they can just put you in, you can learn from and move up in. That's not the reality. The reality is I got to go in there and get some skills move on. Like I don't know if y'all know about Independence Day with Will Smith, the movie, right? The aliens went from planet to planet, sucking all the resources out. So that's the staircase that we have to. The people that come from our background, we got to go through that staircase. We got to go. Hey, I
Right.
got this opportunity. I work at FedEx, right? I got this opportunity. I'm gonna maximize this opportunity. I'm gonna make sure that I'm on my P's and Q's, because when that next step comes, that next opportunity comes, I'm gonna be ready, and I'm going to be able to leave this in the past because I left no stone unturned. That's that's what I'm getting at. Like
And
we not
that
looking
just
at
goes
that.
back into your college. That goes back into college and high school because like you saying, how many, like even just our grandparents, our great grandparents, they would have been blessed to have half of the opportunities that we have when we walk in the classroom today. Why? Because they weren't even able to walk in a classroom and sit down without being ridiculed or oppressed, just because they well, not even because just because of their skin color alone. It's because of their skin color and because they wanted to grow knowledge. They
Right.
were also ridiculed just from the fact that they wanted to better themselves. They were ridiculed because that were for now today, I hate to say it, but mostly African American students that will go in there and they don't want to pay attention. They think, well, it's dumb, and they try and I hate it the most when, because I've seen it, and then knowing that you work in schools, you've probably seen it too, where it's a black student and most likely it could be Hispanic or a white teacher, and they throw out this racial thing where they're like, oh, well, you think because you some white teacher that you can tell me this because I'm, well, no. If you just listen to what they're actually trying to tell you, they're really trying to help you better through life. They're really trying to give you these things, and you think they're just trying to be rude. You think they're just trying to be mean.
And
But a
there's a
lot of people don't
disconnect
understand.
there. There is a racial disconnect, that because that student is looking at it because you don't know my history. You don't
Right,
you can't relate to my history. And we got to change that a little bit too. We got to recognize who is there for us and who's
right,
actually giving us the basics, because my work hard philosophy came from a white coach. Like, he was like, if you want to get better, you got to do stuff in the off season.
right.
This is how you get better. If you want to get to the next step, you got to do a little bit of extra work, right? And that work is that stuff that nobody sees. So I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I'm going to
Right.
do. And he helped you with it. He helped me with it, right? So you got to find those people that are going to give you the right correct information, and then show you how to
Right,
do it.
right.
And if that those two things are there, then you can be like, okay, this is the person that I listen to. There's
Right. And that's
somebody
why,
in
yeah,
your
you can't
in your
find your way of thinking.
what'd you
Yeah.
say?
A lot of people that can
Going
find their
back,
way of thinking just because of that too. Like because just that disconnect, they limit themselves and their potential because they're like, well, I'm not gonna go to this person to get educated because I don't like how they look. They look,
Or
you know
I'm
what I'm
not even
saying?
gonna try on the. I'm not
Right.
trying to learn the information. And then one of the other words that I or phrases that I hear a lot is that they're not teaching me what I need to know to be successful. It ain't changed in hundreds of years. It has been the same. Everybody. I'm just talking about high school. Everybody has went through high school. That's all I'll be saying. Like, if everybody went through high school, you saying that you special so you don't have to try in this high school? Like, they say
That's
people
true.
that they say that people there's some people that have become successful, but they wasn't getting D's and F's in high school. They was getting C's, maybe. You know what I mean? There's a few people, and we want to jump on those few people that are the 1% out of all of when we have all of these people that have been successful, that did go through high school and did well, decent enough to graduate. They wasn't summa cum
And like
laude
you said,
or
mind you,
valedictorian.
like you said, we're the 13% trying to get to the 1% too. So you also gotta incorporate that as well.
Go ahead, Mike.
I think going back to what you were saying earlier about the mindset you were having of like going to college, it was either go to work for 750 or go to college. I think that's how it has been for majority of time going back. And I would say I have to disagree with you. Well, I think the roadmap to success, I think it has changed in the past years. I think it's going to change a lot more to come into the future too.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
and
it came from,
I know that like I'm just saying what I went through. I already
yeah,
know y'all got way more opportunities,
wait,
That's what I was gonna
but
say.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I
but
was
right,
you
gonna say.
have to
Yeah.
get training though. Like
right,
you got to
yeah,
get some kind of knowledge.
right. I
Go ahead.
think what it is that we take it for granted in this generation. We take it for granted of what we really have, and I think where a big mindset of it that you say the students come from is before coming from the age where you came from, going to college was an essential step on that tier to it just even not even being, some big wealthy hot shot, whatever, just having stability in life, just having a
Or just to even
stable
be acknowledged, to
foundation
be
in
acknowledged
life,
as a person.
right, in society, to bring value to society. That's all really, it all really boils down to is what you do to contribute to the value of society. Is it a good impact? And I think that no longer has become a necessary step. Not saying you shouldn't take it. I think that's kind of a stigma that's been around it, but I don't think that's how it should be. I think it's become one of the steps that you can take to reach that tier that
Yeah,
you want to get to.
yeah,
I don't
definitely.
think college. I think you can still meet those people. Like, for example, we met just with you doing Uber deliveries, whatever, just networking with people. I think going through your experience in life and being able to articulate and talk with people and grow, you'll find those people that you need to for your journey. Not saying like, oh, you're gonna walk in Walmart and find, Bill Gates and then he's gonna hire you. Nothing like that. But I think you can go, you can go and place yourself in environments that will give you that training that you're saying, or give you that knowledge that
I
you're
won't
saying.
speak for him because I won't speak for your idea, but from what it seemed like he's not saying that we can't be in those environments, but I feel like he's saying we have to fight to even be like for example, if you get put in this environment just because of our skin color or how we speak, how we dress, even though you're in said environment, that doesn't mean that they'll even be willing to give you that knowledge or that benefit
Yeah,
that you can go somewhere with the knowledge and time that they're giving you. I feel like what he's saying is that we already are in a spot where we have to fight. We have to grab and
just
not
because what we was raised, how
right,
we
right, where
like
like we can be
like
in the
what
environment,
position are
but
y'all in? Let's get real. So I grew up with a single mother, right? We didn't have a lot of income. I'm $99,000 in debt from going to college. I'm cool with that because I invested in myself. So I'm gonna invest that money, and I'm getting a return off of it because I left there with valuable information for me and a valuable work ethic for me to get my family to the next level, right? It's taken a lot longer because of the way that my circumstances is set up,
right,
Yeah,
right? So I live with my mom right now, right? Because she doesn't make enough money
yeah,
to
the
live on her
circumstances.
own. Like I can live on my own. It works, whatever. Everything it works out. But we are, especially black people, are we're caught in the limelight, I guess. It's the illusion, another illusion of success and being able to build that success without really understanding the
The fundamentals, the foundation of it.
fundamentals and the situation that we're in. We're only 13% of the US population.
Right.
So if you're going into real estate, like who you selling to? Black people? Are you selling to everybody? You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. So
we
we
we got to
already have to
look at that.
fight
And I'm not saying
5
that
times harder. Yeah. No,
it,
I'm saying it makes sense. It makes
I,
sense.
I'm not saying that don't do that if you want to do that, but you really have to study that stuff. You got to be and the people that are really truly successful and self-actualized and everything, those people have gone through a whole bunch of stuff in that industry. They worked in it, they learned in it, they read books about it, they got mentored by people, they listen to people, they go to conferences, they do all of this stuff, And I think a lot of people get out of high school and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna do all this and that. I'm like, you might want to do some more steps, because society is telling us we don't need to go to college. And that's cool if you have a network of people that are already set up for you. Your
Right.
dad has a company, your uncle or mom or
Right. Those
somebody.
are the same people. Those are the same people where they jump out with all these expectations and
But they
expectations.
telling society, they
Exactly.
telling everybody. Go
They lead
ahead.
to expectations, and expectations can lead to disappointment. So now that you got these 5 things in your head, and you done failed at the first thing that you had in your head, and so now all that fire is gone. All that passion that those people had when they first got out of high school is gone because they didn't
But
succeed at this one
and,
thing.
but those people that have those networks have the ability to mess up. We have to limit our mistakes. We have to limit our mistakes. So we have to do incremental things that is going to get us to the next step, get us to the next step. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know y'all circumstances fully, but it like y'all should be bringing in a whole bunch of money, right? I don't know if y'all don't work full time. Do y'all work
Mm-mm.
full time?
Hmm. We try. We work just enough to get the bills and everything paid because we want to invest as much in ourselves to
We
get a
were full
bigger
time.
income.
We were full time when we both had vehicles, but
See, we
that
never had
then
my car.
circumstances in life, like things fluctuated to where
Right,
it
right.
worked best. It worked best to be at FedEx. You can be like it's basically occasional where you can kind of
Yeah,
pick your schedule a little bit more, and that's what we go and do just so we can fluctuate a little more. But I'm actually planning to get a vehicle here soon so we can actually get more back
right.
on more
And those are the
consistency and be able to
those
pump more into back into our businesses.
right.
Going back to what you had said earlier, I think we see like us in our generation, we see a lot of circumstances like yours where it's like, because for example, we see a lot of cases where people go to college, end up with a lot of debt to then go start a company to go work their way out of debt to get even, like you're saying, to get to that point to get even, and then start getting,
To
to the
elevate, yeah.
surplus, which is, down the road. That's a lot more for certain people in our generation. That's a lot more steps because then it's the 4 years of going to college, the 2 to 4 years you have to pay off the debt of college, and then it's starting your business, which is acquiring more debt, and then waiting for that business to actually become profitable. For example of this that I have, my friend Anthony, good friend of mine, great dude, really, he's a cool dude, and we both worked at Walmart, and we're both making, at the time I think it was like $16 an hour or something. He said he went to business school, and I think he said he was like I think somewhere like $96,000 in debt, something like that, in the around 100K in
Yeah,
debt. Let's just say like that,
yeah,
make it even. And he was just saying, I was asking him like, like, what do you want to do, man? Like, he said he loved it. The experience was great. He went to school, I think, for like 6 years, got his associates and his bachelor's, and I think business and I think economics. I think he said it was. And he was like, well, eventually he was a workout guy. He said, I want to open up my own gym one day. I said, you already know you'll have one customer, and I fully, when he does that, I plan to fully support him. But in my head, I'm just thinking, he just got out of college. So, he was probably like 26 at the time. He had no way to actually make money. He had these 2 degrees, but he had no way of actually making money. He went and just got a job at Walmart, where he's working with me, a kid who was like, I was probably like, what, 18 at the time, I think, working with him, making the same amount of money. Then he has to get a way to get around. So he finances a car. So then he has to pay back his school loans, pay back his car, then eventually go to get the money to open up his business, then start the business. You see what I mean? And
yeah.
I'm not saying that's the whole picture, because it's definitely not. I just think in my generation we see a lot of stories and cases like that. Like that's a big part of people that end up going to college, either dropping out, ending up in debt, and then of course some go up and be successful in their own regards. But I think we see a lot
Do you see a
that
lot? Do you see a lot more of the opposite, that
of
um
people being successful.
just out of high school, just
I think the high school. I think it varies between high school to high school, but I think high school graduation is around only about 50%. about only like I'm not sure if that's exactly. Don't quote me on that.
No, I'm just
But
saying, I'm just saying, after you graduate high school,
yeah,
who have you seen a lot of stories that have gone on to be successful in
going to college,
not going to college, just doing whatever they want to
not going
do.
to college.
Yeah, just
Have
doing
I
whatever
seen
they
a lot
want
of
to do.
stories of people not going to college and being successful?
Hmm.
Or are you saying, do I see more of those versus people who do go to college and be successful?
Yeah, whatever. Both.
Sorry. I would say no. I mean, I feel like my experience is fairly limited. I don't know
Because this is
a
what I'm
lot
gonna
of
tell
people.
you. This is what I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
This is what happens. So you get out of high school, right? You go work a job. You start paying bills. You want your own place. You want your own car. You
Hmm.
it is
That
you
racks
want
up.
you start it start adding up. You got
Right.
monthly bills now. You got you
Mhm.
got all of these different things. This is what happens. You get stuck. And what I need y'all to understand is that you have more in you to give to the world that than to just be stuck paying bills. We need you to reach your fullest potential. You have things that are inside of you. You have gifts that are inside of you that need to be pulled out. And that doesn't come from um just uh not doing anything, right? I
Right.
get
You have to
I
live life. You
you
have to.
have to experience something out of the comfort
Yeah.
zone.
Experience is the
Like,
best
and you
teacher.
have like we come from an environment that's not not as structured as necessary to be at a real professional level, right? So we have to go get that professional help, and we have to go through those steps. It may take a little bit longer. We can because like that dude that went and got his bachelor's degree in
Being
business or
associate.
whatever,
Yeah.
that is going to help long term, but we're not investing in that long term. You know what I mean? We want it right after. Elon Musk ain't Elon Musk after college. You know, after
Right.
high school. Like, you don't
Right.
know who Elon Musk is after high school. You don't know who he is
Where
after
he did to
college.
get to that
Right.
point.
You don't know who Mark
You don't
Zuckerberg
know
is.
who he is until he
Right.
almost 40 years old. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So you got from 18 to 40. You
Right.
know what I mean? To build up what you and
Where,
there's
like you said, no
levels to
one
this.
knows, no one cares. All those years is where that's the no one knows and no one cares until he hit that, till Tesla, until this.
Right.
Right.
Before that, no one knows, no one cared.
But we we ain't gonna get there if we don't
Right.
go and get something. He has 2 degrees from universities, 4-year degrees. Like,
Right.
is that investment?
Yeah.
That's investment in yourself. Like, I'm go ahead.
I think where a big problem comes from is that people don't go and apply what they go to college for because their initial the start of them going to college wasn't on a solid
Like he said,
foundation.
like he said,
It wasn't
they had no goal. When
they had no
came
goal in
there,
mind.
yeah.
And I think it's because it all leads
They
back to what we were talking
entitled.
about earlier.
They entitled. They
I'll
they
say that.
entitled to compensation after they go get the
Right.
degree.
The
No
I would
moment,
matter
say
if it's
that.
associate.
And I would
That's what
say
y'all think. That's what y'all young people think.
it's also the fact of don't they don't they don't know exactly what it is that they were trying to go and achieve when going to college. It was
Yeah.
because of, their parents or their circumstances or whatever, trying to make more money. And so they was like, okay, I'm gonna go to college to go make more money. And so when it gets to that point where it's like they're at the end of the road, don't get me wrong, you can start up whatever it is that you want to start up, but a lot of them get out of it. They end up going doing the same thing, getting in that same cycle outside of college. After college, though, of getting in the same cycle of getting a job, wanting a car, wanting a house, things like that, on top of
but I think
school
that's because
day,
what he's
on
saying.
top
Like
of
that's
school
what I think
day.
that's what he's saying. Is like they go into high. It's literally what you're saying. Is like
Yeah.
they go into high school with no plan. And what he's saying is the moment that they graduate, the moment that they get this little slip of paper, for some reason they think success is coming with it when it's not.
Well, I don't think so,
So
too,
then it's kind of
because
like but then it's kind of like what you're saying, because that success wasn't initially given to them from what they expected was going to happen. that's when now they're starting to go get a regular job. Why? Because to them, they think that didn't work. They think, well, now I spent all these years in college, I got this paper now, but now I didn't really retain none of this stuff that I did. Like he was saying, I just kind of got through it. I didn't really utilize it and be like, okay, I'm gonna use this knowledge for when I start this. They kind of just got through it, got the piece of paper, didn't get nothing besides this diploma, this degree. And now, like you're saying, then they go back. Now they're starting to work again. Why? Because to them, they're like, well, I don't know what to do besides this from when I first started. So I feel like, what y'all are saying, I feel like y'all are saying the same, like Lewis, the same thing.
That's what I thought too.
He's saying what he's saying.
I've also heard things of people going and getting a degree and going to get the job, but then when they apply to the job will say you don't have enough experience.
Yeah,
all you have is
happens.
the degree.
That happened to me. That happened to me, but like we got to understand, and this is the reason for Success is My Religion podcast. We got to understand. We have to understand that success is a process, and like you might have to work an entry level job that doesn't pay you, that pays you the same thing as Walmart pays you, but that entry level job is in the direction of the way you want to go. And going in the direction of the way you want to go is way better than going the opposite direction. Because there's always going to be two choices that you can do. You can go towards your dream or towards a desired destination, or you can go away from it. And away from it is usually going to get the money. I chose to go.
So your purpose or your weakness, you can't serve both.
Yes. So I chose to go towards my dream, and I chose to well, circumstances chose for me to be a teacher's aide in the elementary school because we were in the end of the Great Recession, right? So I had to do that. I was only making like $11.50 an hour, right? That was my salary, right? $24,500. But I was like, all right, let me actually, like, I don't have anything to lose, so I'm gonna actually go after something that I dreamed of. My first goal was to train athletes, or train student athletes, right? That was my first goal. It's a broad goal. It's not a specific goal, but it's close. So I was like, let me stay in the educational realm. I may not make a lot of money. I can go. I was getting offers to go in manager and training for a restaurant or whatever. They make $80,000. I should have went and did it if I had my mindset now. Go get the money, still work on your stuff on the side. But I chose to stay in the field so that I can understand the things that I need to understand. So now, 20 years later, 15 years later, I can actually go back and be like, all right, this is how this person acts. This is what their background is. This is all right. I calculate all of this stuff in my mind, and now I'm helping you through your process because I had my own experiences. I observed it, and then these are the facts. These are the facts. We only 13% of the U.S. population. These are facts, right? Like there has something to do with how we gonna get jobs and stuff like that. So like we have to get on a level of thinking that we're investing in the long term. So I need to be in this space. I didn't need to be in the restaurant space because that wasn't going to help me long term. And when my goal finally changed, and the one definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. So I had to progress in that field so that I can realize what my ultimate goal was. And then it came back to my education. My education is I double majored in human service agency management and recreation administration. So we did a lot of stuff. What'd you say?
I said that fits perfectly for you.
Right. So I was reverse engineering this the whole time. So I took it back to my knowledge from school. Like, we had a mission statement. I was like, what does that mission statement usually? What does my mission statement say? All right, let me put it together. I thought about it. I don't know how long it took, but now my ultimate goal is to fund and run a life prep program for disadvantaged student athletes. Now that's clear, direct, and I have a purpose. Everything that I do, once I've made that, everything that I do is in alignment with that goal. Like, I'm positioning myself. It may take me a little bit longer than what I planned on it, but now I have the education, I have the experience, I have the network of people that know me from all over the place, of all of my experiences, whether it's college, whether it's working, whether it's the restaurant, wherever I go, those people saw the work ethic. And once I go keep on going in my step, when I wrote this book and published the book, like, everybody came out and bought the book. I appreciate that. But all of these things culminate into what I'm putting out now. Like, now I have the what's that called? Um, Jumpstarting generational wealth. Like, when I talk to y'all about work and stuff like that, like, y'all getting paid $15 an hour, right? Or I don't know how much y'all get paid. I'm just saying, if somebody got paid $15 an hour, they can you can put together a budget to say, I'm going to save this amount of money over a long period of this amount of time, say 5 years. If somebody gets paid $20 an hour over 5 years, you should be able to save $20,000 a year aggressively. Aggressively. That's making sure you know where your money is going. Working 40, 60 hours. Like, you shouldn't even be at home to get on your parents' nerves or whoever you living with nerves. You should be like, all right, I'm just here to sleep, eat, and take a shower and go to work, right? Because then you got work for 60 hours. You at the gym. You with your girl or with your friends. The other planned period of time. So that work ethic, that budget, that even if you don't go to college, that's going to teach you some things about yourself, that's going to be able to last you a long term. So now, once you got past that 5 years, right, and you saved $20,000 a year, $20,000, whatever, $80,000 to $100,000 in your bank account, now it looks a little different at 22, 23 years old, and you can go invest in something, right? You have $80,000 to $100,000 to go put in something. So when I say, like, why are we not doing what we're supposed to in high school, and we just getting out and we going to work so we can pay for these things and become adults and stuff like that, because that's what we want. I'm like, you don't have to do that. Make a deal with your parents and be like, I'm going I'm gonna be working so you ain't got to worry about me. I'll pay you $500 a month to go towards a bill. So now you're an asset, not a liability like you was in high school. So they should be cool with that, because you giving them $6,000 extra. And you see what I'm saying? So now, if you do that and you put in the work, and you put in some work after you go to work during those 5 years, now you can say, okay, all right, I learned this over time. I'm not, because we get into a space where we're relying on that entrepreneurship to pay dividends now, when entrepreneurial stuff pays dividends later, a lot later usually. So that's what I was talking about. We got to get to even, and y'all have an opportunity. The young people now have an opportunity to get to even working a mediocre job. I keep on showing my little background.
You good?
But a mediocre job to get to even, that nobody else in history has ever done. So one of my students asked me, what do you expect from us? I expect y'all to take it to another level because of all the opportunities that y'all have. Y'all only have there's only 5 ways. There's only five routes to success after high school. There's going to work. There's a 2-year degree, associate's degree. There's a trade school, which is usually like 1 or 2 years. You can go to the 4 year, or you can go into the military. Those are the only 5 routes. We got to pick one. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't work out. It's the experience. If we go in with the right mindset is that I'm going to go get this experience. I'm going to go work hard. I'm gonna put my all into it. So, like all of those jobs that I had in the past, like I don't have to go back to because I gave my all. I gave them everything. Like the job that I go to now, I'm giving them my everything. And so when I move on to the next step, ain't no coming back because I did what I needed to do. Right. So I'm just that's just my
and you
my
can ask,
train
bro.
of thought.
I have that same mentality too. I've told bro that exact same thing of like keep moving forward kind of mentality. I kind of told him like whenever I get some like every single job I've ever had, I've never went backwards financially in every single job I've had, and that's because I feel like it should be a stepping stone. And I'm not saying it's bad if you do. I'm just saying with the mentality of keep moving forward. And I had the chance to too. At the job I had right before here at FedEx, it was a place called True Value. And at first they were paying like I think $16.50 an hour, but it was a progressive thing where it's like every year you get a raise up until like I think if you're there for like 5 years, you just bump up to like $30 something an hour. And it wasn't a bad job like whatsoever, and don't get me wrong, but it made more sense for me to move on to progress to a place like FedEx where it was the exact same model. You get a raise every single year, and I think after so many years you hit like a certain ceiling, like whatever at any job. But it's just like a keep moving forward mentality of I can't move back to where I was. Like if I'm making $20 now, I'm not gonna go back to make 16. So now if it was the circumstance
what
where
I keep hearing,
I had to, but I think you should keep a mentality of always elevating. And don't get me wrong, life happens. You may fall back down, but it's always trying to better yourself 1% better every single day. Sometimes you got to win ugly, and you can go ahead. My bad.
No, it's cool. It's not the money thing, especially early. It's the experience. It's what you actually are getting out of those hours that you spend there. Are you just packing boxes? Are you just shipping boxes? Or could we be doing something a little more constructive?
You know what? I'm not. No,
and that's what I feel like. And I feel like I make connections because not like how you make connections. I know someone at FedEx, and their name is Drew and Brittany. They're my friends, and they use the information from, like, for example, they use the information of the trailers and stuff like that. And what they say was, okay, we know that because I'm not sure if you're aware, but like FedEx and stuff like that, Amazon, and most of their trailers and stuff are like third party. Like they don't really own the trailers that are being loaded. They're kind of just like third party ones that are being filled. So he was like, well, if we know that that a supply of these are needed, because there's only so many brands of them. There's only going to be so many. There's only like 4, I think he said, that come and have these trailers filled. He said, so what if I just make a company that makes these trailers and stuff more accessible? Now I can start making my business to where now FedEx is making me money. So I feel like what you're saying, he's taking the information he knows from this business he's been at for I think like 6 years, and he's using it day by day to realize, okay, well, I can do this and utilize this system or utilize this tactic in my own business, and realize what needs and demands are in need of not only the people, but in the business. That's where you can really start making money, is where now not only these little things like Walmart and Target buying my stuff, I got places like FedEx, Amazon want my freaking trailers. You know what I'm saying? Now that's where the money is. And that's what I feel like y'all both are like saying, is like finding your respective way and your respective nature. Like how you saying you find that way of utilizing the information and the accessibility from what you've been through. And I feel like what you saying is that you got to use, you kind of got to use your you got to use that to also know where's the next goal at, to know, okay, if I'm making this much right now, once I start making this much, there is no going back to this. I need to know that this is the new standard now. Like, this is the new standard of me making this.
And money is good, but developing your gift, something that you can really, something you can give back to society, is the ultimate self actualization. So is that job helping you get to that point? And I'm not directing this at you guys for that, but it's a question we gotta ponder in order to reach our fullest potential, because the ideas and things come from those people that went through adversity. The new innovations and stuff come through those people that went through the adversity, the trauma, the whatever it is, and it's those people that overcome that and work through all of their shortcomings, the circumstances that they were born into, all of those things, and that's where we were born. We was born to be successful. Those are where the successful people come from. It's not I ain't never seen no truck driver say change the world. You feel me? Like, we got a whole bunch of dudes going to get their CDLs and stuff. I ain't knocking that, but like, you not applying yourself to something that's greater. Like, like, that's just a job. And if you look at our society and where we really all the way came from, they wanted us to be workers. They didn't want us to think that we was more and we can do more, we can do better. So that's why I'm like, I gotta get this.
Huh? Now we do the work for them.
You know, but we get paid a certain amount of money or whatever, and they can let us go, and they still have the power over us to let us go. So what I'm really trying to get at is that we have to use the opportunities that we have to get to another level, whether that's financially or whatever, so that we can get on with our purpose. We don't know what that purpose is because it's the progressive realization. So you have to be working in and doing things. You know, most of the stuff you're going to learn is stuff that you don't get paid for when you are working in your purpose. So I had to go make $24,500 for 7 years of my career with a master's degree, with all of the experience and all of that stuff that I had to go through that. And every story of success, I know you read the books, every stories of success, they went through these hard, tough periods or whatever, and we just want to skip over that. And we ain't even got the professionalism to go to school on time. We ain't doing our work. Like, ain't nobody in there trying to purposely derail your success. Just go in there, shut up, sit down, write whatever they need to write. Maybe they ain't teaching you how they need to teach you, but you can teach yourself. And if you could teach yourself, you could teach yourself something else afterwards. And if you do that long enough, you can get really good at teaching yourself. And when you get out, you can teach yourself whatever you want. But we not applying ourselves at that moment, at that time, in those 4 years. that's disrespectful. That's entitled. That's selfish. Because all of these people, you talked about it earlier, all these people came and sacrificed, died, whatever, to even get us to a point where we making $15-16 an hour at 19 years old. Like, people fought for that. Like, right. people sacrificed for that, and it wasn't just black people, it was everybody. Everybody want a livable wage, right? But we not using it when we get it in the time period that we need it. You know what I mean? At 18 years old, you don't have as many responsibilities, right? You don't have all of the responsibilities that a full adult has. Like, you're not paying all of the bills. Right. You see what I'm saying? So right. So we gotta, if you're going to go work, make it work for you. Don't just start buying stuff. And if you know anything about the dollar and how the dollar circulates into the black community, Like it only lasts 30 minutes. So let's take 5 years, have 100,000. If y'all two and 8 other of your friends saved and saved and saved and saved for that 5 years and had $100,000 in y'all bank account each. That's that's $1 million. You see what I'm saying? And
Right.
y'all you don't think y'all can all invest $10,000 in something? That's $100,000 into one business. Then y'all all still have $90,000 left. You see what I'm saying? Like we not making the opportunity, the area that we live in, the time that we live in work for us. And I mean, I'm not aiming this at y'all, but I'm just like young people in general. Like, let's start thinking on another level. Let's start making a plan. And if y'all want, like, I got a template for saving money if y'all want that. But we got to put in
Well,
that
actually,
work.
it's funny you say that, because you can even ask, bro. One of the things that I actually learned and got from my mentors was like a budget session, where like we literally went down and broke down. We literally went down and broke down every single, and we categorized it in essential and non-essential expenses. You know, essential being like rent, bills, whatever, and then non-essential being like, you know, or things that just like fluctuate, which would be like, you know, if you have, you know, subscriptions to watch any TV, groceries,
Yeah.
stuff like that wouldn't necessarily always be a hard number exactly every month. We went through that, and they actually taught me a method it's really just a different way of saving, but a more efficient way, called the envelope method, where it's like they taught me to go and create an envelope or a space just for this specific category of expenses, whether it's like eating out, you know, groceries, shopping, whatever it is, you know, of that category, saving, business,
Right.
and literally put in whatever it is that you need to every month in that envelope. And, you know, say you run through that envelope within that month, you don't put no more, you don't spend nothing more on that category of whatever it is. And I think it's such an effective method for,
You've been using it?
yeah, for using it. I don't say saving money, but am I using it? Yeah, I'm using it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
okay.
used it since I learned it. Yeah, yes, for sure. And it helps me not one save, but just also keep a hard, just, I was like, configuration of my money and the different separate areas of my
Yeah.
life and where it's going. And I think it's really good. I think everyone should really do that, but you know,
It makes
it's
you
not,
realize on how much money you spend on stuff too. Like I knew
Yeah.
this one girl I used to work with, and she would buy Starbucks. She would buy the large Starbucks drink every day, 5 days, 5 days out the week, because she said she always did it only when she goes to work, which is 5 days out the week. She would spend I think
$5, $7.
yeah, it was like $8 for like the large, because she, you know, she gets a whole bunch of extra stuff, so it would be like $8. And she did the math one day, and
That's
shoot, I don't remember
$40
the
a
precise.
week. $40
I
a
don't
week
even.
right.
That's
times
just, but
4.
that would be at
$160.
minimum. That would be at minimum, because
That's
she would say that's if
$160
she would say that's if she got one drink, or if she didn't buy someone else a drink who would go with her to Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, that's at minimum. I'm spending that much a week just on Starbucks drinks alone, and that, like, it's crazy when you sit down. A lot of people don't really do that. Like when a
And
lot of people even
that's basic financial literacy. That's basic.
Right.
Like we talk about. I had a conversation after I dropped y'all off. Like I think a couple days later, I had a conversation with another dude, and I was like, we talk about financial literacy as far as like building trust and opening businesses and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm looking at these kids. They don't even know how much money they bring in, and they don't know how much is going out. And I was like,
Right.
if we don't know that, how we gonna build a business when it's
Exactly.
assets and all of all of these business things? Like, if we don't understand those basic fundamental practices and budgeting within our household, like, I don't look at my budget as much as I used to. I need to, because I've been spending a lot lately on stupid stuff like meals and stuff like that, and whatever. But those basic fundamentals we ain't even mastered in our community. So
You're right.
speaking on a higher level of entrepreneurship or owning
In life in
businesses,
general.
huh?
I think in life in general, even if you don't end up, even if you just want to have a stable foundation in life, I think it's always good to just know those basic numbers. I feel like those are the important things that they don't teach us in school. Like in school, I
And
was
they not
never taught about
supposed to. They not
my
supposed
whole
to.
life. I think they should. My whole life, I didn't even know there was different forms of income from earned income. I had to go and teach myself that. I think that's the thing they should teach you. I don't
Yeah,
think I was never taught that there's different tax brackets based on how much income you bring into the
They
household.
just started
They don't
teaching
teach
it
you
like
that. I think those are necessary things that we need to know that school doesn't teach us. And we can have different opinions on it, but I think that should be a necessity that they teach in school to create good, sustainable people in society, but they
yeah.
don't. And I think that's another reason why
And
a lot
then
of people
so
can't
now,
do it.
you, what does what does a parent teach you?
A parent, well, it depends on the parent, but a parent is supposed to teach you the fundamentals to go be a good person in society.
Right. What does a parent teach you about money?
Everything they know, which is limited.
Exactly. And schools are limited too. So,
Right.
at the same time.
I was gonna say
So
schools may be schools, but a lot of people don't understand that schools are still in some way, whatever shape or form you want to look at it, they're a business in some way or sort.
That's
You know
true
what I'm
yeah,
saying? Some people won't accept it, but they are. And with that being, just like how like it is true, they do need classes like that. But like same reason why what I had a financial class and stuff like that that just
Me
started
too.
that year.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because a lot of schools and districts don't want to fund this classroom is because they know, well, these students are going to come in here and not pay attention no matter, even though, if we spend this amount of money to get all these textbooks, all these things, all these, whatever they need to describe it and educate them properly, they're going to go, well, half these students aren't going to want to go in this class. The ones that do go in this class, they're going to fail. And then if they fail, that makes our district and our numbers in our school look worse than what they might already be. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of them are going to be like, well, instead of doing that, why don't we just do this instead? Like at Northeast, at the school I graduated at, instead of fixing stuff, just like fixing stuff in the school and just making it look more appeasable to the eye to make students want to go there. You know what I'm saying? They rather do stuff like buy a touchscreen thing that every teacher can have in their room. Why? Because to them, they're going to be like, well, the students are going to look at this because it's just a big old screen. So they're going to look at these for sure. To them, they're like, well, they're going to use this for sure. We don't want to fix all this other stuff. Why? Because the students aren't going to care. Just like that's the business. To me, at least that's how I look at it with certain things. They won't put these certain things in there because they don't see, to them there's going to be no benefit on a certain degree that benefits them.
I just think they don't teach some essential like information. Like there's 3 different forms of income: the earned, the passive, and the portfolio. And I think that's basic. I think that's basic information. I think that's basic information you should know just as a person, even if you're not
yeah.
a
I don't
entrepreneur
remember
or a
learning
business
that
owner.
stuff either. But but
You know
y'all
what?
got the internet. I don't remember learning that
Yeah,
stuff either. So,
right.
but y'all got the
I think
internet,
think about if
and
you did. Think about if they taught you that when you first came out of high school. Do you think you would have been a lot better off
I don't,
knowing that information?
I don't go into that because that's
Oh,
Stuff
well,
that
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
that
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
My
just
bad. Yeah, my bad.
hypothetical. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it,
Well,
I could have been better off. I might have been able to use. I still had to understand about work. Like I didn't work or nothing. I didn't tax brackets. Like most of my mom been in the same tax bracket for all her life. You know
right,
what I'm saying? So
right.
there's only so much that a school can teach you anyway. So and if you don't, like, we have financial algebra, like we got accounting, we got all of that stuff at the school that I work at. But like if you don't take those classes, some of them are required. If you don't take them
Yeah.
seriously at the time either, like I mean,
At least they told you.
at least they told you. All
But
right.
I think, but they're not even telling you though. They're not
Yeah,
even
I
telling you
got
everything
you. I
though.
got you.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
I mean, that's the nature of the world. Like that's the nature of life.
Yeah,
Like
man,
you're
bro.
not gonna get told everything. Like your
I think
parents ain't
you
gonna
learn.
teach you how to do everything either.
Right. I think I've learned more based like on my own experience going through life and owning my own business than I ever did in the class about businesses, and that's just my opinion. Now, that's
Yeah,
my only limited
and
experience too.
and
That's my only
usually the classes are introductory, like
hypothetical.
yeah, they introductory. They give you a variety of things to look at until you get in there. Like you're not really gonna know because somebody that don't know how to play basketball, if you just put them in a basketball class, they gonna know the things that are going on, but they don't know the instinct it takes to do execute
Right,
these
right.
things, or they don't understand the coaches. You have to listen to the coach and relay the message, and different things that you need to know all of the rules, where to take you need to know the lingo and all of that stuff. I mean, you
Yeah,
can learn that in the classroom, but when you step out on that court, are you going to be good?
it'll be
Probably
different.
not,
Right.
because you got to play to actually
To
get
get good
better.
experience,
The
So
right.
best teacher. Yep.
like, well, I think we expecting people and entities
To be
and
much improved.
to guarantee us this information or guarantee us success. That's a lot of entitlement. Like,
I think you have to go and apply it, because knowledge only becomes power when you go and apply it.
right,
I think they
applied
don't even
knowledge
give
is
you
power.
they don't give you the essential knowledge to even plug in, I think, a lot of the times. That's my opinion. I think they don't give you the knowledge to even plug in. I think they give you a lot of fluff. I think school gives you a lot of fluff. And I'm not saying that some
You
of it
also
isn't
got to think of the
important.
students too. Like even if they
Some
have the
people learn
classes, like I
differently.
said, you can put them in the environment, but how many people are going to actually grab and fight hard to actually
That's true too.
utilize? You know what I'm saying? So then that's what also goes hand in hand too. Like he said, they got the financial algebra or anything like that. Now I don't know how many students that are in that class, but how many of them be
Everybody in that class.
but like how many? But all I'm saying is like how many of them like actually going like you see them where they like I'm not gonna say happy, but like you see them actually writing it down, thinking of like utilizing it, or even just talking to you.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen some? How many do you see
Right.
them do that besides other ones who may be good at it, who may get through it? Because like me, like I said, math class, I got through math class, but if you ask me something I learned junior year, I'm gonna look at you like, who are
And
you?
guess
Right.
what? I don't remember anything that I learned in high school.
Right.
I don't remember anything. It's you're not going. I barely
Anything
remember
worth
the stuff that
remembering.
I went to college for. Like, I
Right.
mean, I do once it comes up or whatever,
Right.
but
Right.
but
Was it worth remembering?
I mean, at the time, like I went through the experience. Like you just going. It's a process. It was a process.
Right.
Like when I need it, it's there. Just for me. I don't
Right.
know if anybody else does that, but like when I need it, it's there. When I had to come back to my mission statement. My mission statement came from me being in those nonprofit classes. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Right.
like you're going to need uh to get
Expand.
some type of knowledge or education along the way, whether it's books, seminars, articles, YouTube
Mentors. Everything.
videos, all of those different things. You also have to apply it. Those are different steps
Yeah.
to the whole process. And we got to understand that it takes 10,000 hours to be really good at something. And
Right.
I think the 10,000 hours it starts with your habits and
Daily.
those things that you're developing, the practice. So you got to practice. It may not be on that specific thing, but all of these are transferable skills. The stuff that you use in high school, when I was talking about if a kid learned to teach himself how to get a good grade in that class, he had to teach himself. He wasn't really learning from when he get out and he can teach himself whatever he needs to know to get to whatever goal that he has next. You see
Utilize
what I'm
that. Yeah.
saying? He practiced
Right.
that. So that 10,000 hours started early, right? So if we don't if we're not focused on some type of goal, yeah, high school is they ain't teaching us everything, but this is what they teaching me. So when I get out, I can do something else. Maybe that's not what society don't teach you that. Society just say get out, and my vice principal was like, "Yeah, just go to college and get out, and you get a good job." Like, I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"That's
That
your
easy.
advice to
Yeah.
me." Like, I was like, I didn't know anything. So I had to teach myself the whole college process, the whole enrollment. I had to teach myself FAFSA, all of that stuff. So in me teaching myself that and me being independent and not having anybody to talk all of these things through, like I figured that out. And now I can help other people figure it out, right? The younger people that are maybe going through that stuff, just anything. But like the bigger picture is that I understood what I was doing, what I understood the direction that I wanted to go, right? So once I understood my direction, then it was like, okay, now put in the work, right? But I have to
Lay the
get
foundation.
get paid and feed myself,
Right.
get to the next get to even, right? I have to do
Right.
all of those
That's the first
things,
step.
right? And on top of all of that, I have to still pursue my passion and learn the things on top of everything that I do. So after going to work at 40 hours, I go teach group fitness classes at night during the week. Then I drive Uber for 30 to 40 hours throughout the week. So like I'm 80 hours in, and now I gotta do podcasts, and I gotta read a book, and I gotta you see what I'm saying? And I've been doing this for 22 years. So you don't think that I'm gonna be really good at understanding things about
Right.
people? Like I read books about people, the laws of human nature, Robert
Yep.
Greene.
That's a
I
good one.
read all of his books, Laws of
Right.
Seduction, The
There's
Art of
actually a book called
Seduction.
2000 Hours too.
I read all of them multiple times, and I go and apply it. I see it. I talk to people about it. I ask questions. People don't know I'm asking questions about the art of seduction, or I make connections.
Psychology,
Yeah,
observing,
so
analyzing. Yep.
we gotta do that. We gotta, and I appreciate y'all coming on. I didn't.
Yes,
Of
sir.
course.
Man, I love the conversation, the back and forth. We gonna disagree on some things, anyways. Even
Yeah.
if
But the energy
That's
is
it's a
always
But I
immaculate
think
though.
it's great to be around a person that doesn't just agree with everything you say. So then it's like, for one, you can always expand your
Y'all
knowledge.
building from each
You
other.
can
Yeah.
build. And I think you're around a person that isn't just a yes man. You don't want to be around a yes man. You want to be around a person that's going to help you.
I like outlookers. You want that person that
Elevate.
can get that outside perspective. So when you in a certain, it don't matter what type of group or wherever you at. When you can find it only this amount of people in this same group, same people for this long, you need that outside perspective to keep it fresh, to keep it new, to keep it positive, to keep it as an actual to remind yourselves of that goal. Because when you stay in that confined area and you just keep it with these certain people and you don't let no one from an outside perspective, let the information in,
right.
you lose your way. It's real easy to lose your way. But man, it was a very good conversation, bro.
Yeah, we gotta do it again. What'd you say?
Oh, I was about to say I gotta get ready here soon to work this double shift.
Yeah, and
And then,
y'all need to be working 40 plus hours, and
that's
doing
good.
your entrepreneurship on top of that. That's where the appreciation, the drive, that's where you hone it. When you gotta do something,
Man,
when you trying to get
you
your
should see us.
family to even, like
Right.
there's no, I mean, even when you work the double, like there's an opportunity. Y'all live in a prime spot where it ain't far to get to something that you can make
Oh
extra
yeah.
money on the side.
Trust me.
You see what
Oh,
I'm
we do.
saying? Like we
Yeah.
gotta apply ourselves. Like like go do it. Put in the work, because if you don't put in the work while you young, and you just
It's gonna catch up with you. It's gonna catch up with you when you
I mean, I'd rather you work hard now and have an easier life later, because once the entrepreneurship stuff, I don't know what your business is. We didn't get into all of that, but once the entrepreneur stuff start really hitting after the years of working at it, right? Now you can drop off those hours that you were spending working at another job, but that other job, you got to be appreciative to that because it was helping you get by, and it was helping you save money, and it was helping you invest into whatever it is that you doing with your your businesses. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
Right.
and you need to get in the gym, and you need to. You see what I'm saying? Like,
It
Yeah,
goes on and on.
right, man. You should have seen us a few months back, bro. We used to come home from work and then work out. We would come home from work and then work out, and then whatever it is we record, you know, a video or a song that day, and then we would game plan. Like it was, man, it was just
But it's gonna be
always
back. It's
staying
gonna be. We're
consistent.
gonna change it from a was. You know what I'm saying?
To
We gotta
what-
change it from a was.
The
for
only,
sure.
the only, it's just life happens with everything. With it's a whole bunch of different situations that happened from then to this point. That was probably we were probably like that,
You
like
know.
what, 2 months ago,
Probably like 2, 3,
like a
yeah.
month and a half, something like that.
yeah, you
And
got
it's just like
it's your schedule.
staying
It's your
connected.
schedule
Yeah.
is gonna really how you work that mug. Everybody got 24 hours in a day, but if you
Right,
ain't working them 24 hours, you got to do something to get you money. And then you got to do something, whatever you need to do on the side, because like what I told one of my students was getting the money is the first thing. You know what I mean? And it's hard for us to get it. It's hard for us to get it because we ain't getting no jobs like that. We ain't managers of companies, and we ain't CEOs and stuff like that. Like we ain't moving up like that, and we didn't come from a background that allows us to move up gradually and still get the things in life, like a house, a nice apartment, a car, and all of that stuff, and we can progress throughout. So man, just put in the work, man.
Man, bro.
But hey, keep us updated for sure. I'm gonna be looking forward for the next podcast. I'm not sure if it's every Saturday or anything like that, but whenever the schedule is aligned, I for sure would love to be back. It's always nice having a conversation.
Right.
Of course, we'll do it.
And our knowledge, man, for real. Like I love conversating with just positive, just like-minded people. To be honest, just people
for sure.
On a good energy. You know, you talk to a lot of people at work, completely different. It's like day and night, man.
So what we can do is we can do it on a regular basis, and y'all come in and check in, and I can hold y'all accountable to to some things, and we can talk through it, because that's what I want to do. I want to life coach people, and if y'all willing and open to it, like you could get this stuff for free, like like the knowledge that I know is stuff like. Yeah, you can have your mentors, but the mentors is only a life coach is different than a mentor too.
I think the best mentorship comes from when it is free. Because I don't pay for my mentors or anything like that. Like it's not just strictly business, like at all. Far from it. Like I do the same thing. Not like we get on a Zoom call or anything, but like I do the same thing. I call my mentor up, tell them, hey man, I got this situation I'm dealing with at home, or hey man, can I just pull up and just talk with you for a bit? Like, and I think it's essential to have people like that in your life. So I'm always welcome to learning and from just having people pour into me, man, and just taking in information for real. Always like developing on that, you know, because I'm young. I'm not as experienced as yourself, as that may not be hard to do. I'm only about to be 21 years old. I got a whole lot of life left in me. And I just think I'm ready to observe and take on whatever and learn from other people's mistakes. So that way I can have my best journey in life to give to my son and my daughter and my family and pass that on, man, and create that different cycle.
You got kids already?
No.
Okay. I was about to say.
Yeah, I'm future. Right. I got the vision, man. I'm a family-oriented person.
Yeah, and that's what we need. That's what we need. All right, man.
I think it's that not having kids to you. Stable.
What I say, 30?
Right.
30. Then you can start thinking about it.
Right. I'm with you. We're in the same spot, man. Great minds think alike.
All right, I'm gonna let y'all get off of here. Hey, it was cool. All right.
Yes. All right then, man. Stay blessed.
Real conversations. Real solutions. Real success.
Success is my religion.